Okay, let's unpack this. We often think the biggest mysteries in nature, belong to things that move. Big cats, deep-sea creatures, whales, things that can actually hide or run away.
Right, the things we have to chase.
Exactly. But sometimes, maybe the greatest ghost out there doesn't move at all. It's a plant.
And that plant is what we're diving into today, the genus Thismia. It's truly one of botany's most eccentric and elusive subjects.
So our mission today is to try and understand its, frankly, bizarre biology, why people call it a fairy lantern, and maybe get into why it keeps disappearing. It's baffled scientists for, over a century now.
At least, and that nickname, fairy lantern, it sounds so delicate, doesn't it?
It really does. But then you dig a bit deeper, like into the folklore, and fairies weren't always Tinkerbell, right? They could be pretty manipulative, even like life-sucking beings.
And that fits Thismia perfectly. It's basically a vampire in the plant world, a parasite.
Which brings us to the absolute core of it, the really wild part.
Wrap.
Thismia is a flowering plant, yes, but it completely breaks the mold.
Totally. It doesn't need the sun at all. It doesn't do photosynthesis, that conversion of light into energy.
And so it doesn't have chlorophyll, that green stuff.
Nope. Completely lacks it. That's why it's not green.
Okay, so if it's not using the sun, it must have another power source, right? Where's it plugging in?
It's using this incredible survival strategy called mycoheterotrophy.
Mycoheterotrophic. Okay.
Yeah, bit of a mouthful. But in simple terms, it means the plant gets all its energy by tapping into fungi networks underground.
It just steals it?
Pretty much. It's like the ultimate biological scam.
How common is that? I mean, completely ditching photosynthesis.
It's incredibly rare to go all the way. We only know of maybe 400 species across about 85 genera that are what we call obligate mycoheterotrophs.
Obligate meaning they have to do it this way.
Exactly. They rely solely on fungi for their entire lives. Compare that to, say, 20,000 species that are mixotrophs.
Mixotrophs.
Yeah, they might need fungi when they're just seedlings, getting started. But later on, they switch to photosynthesis like a regular plant. This Thismia never makes that switch.
You called it a scam, which makes me think about the fungus. Is the fungus okay with this? Does it even notice this little plant tapping into its energy lines?
Well, that's where the parasite label really comes in. See, normally there's this beautiful partnership underground.
The mycorrhizal relationship.
Exactly. Green plants make energy from the sun. They give some sugar to the fungus. The fungus, in return, acts like extended roots, fetching water and minerals for the plant. It's mutual. Win-win.
Okay, classic symbiosis.
Right, but then Thismia comes along. It uses its own, microscopic roots to plug directly into the fungus body, the mycelium, and just siphons off the energy.
And gives nothing back.
Absolutely nothing. It's a one-way street. That makes it an epiparasite, a parasite that's basically hijacking a partnership between others.
But why doesn't the fungus, block it, kick it off the network? Fungi have been around for ages. Surely they have defenses.
That's a great question. It seems Thismia is highly specialized. Its fungal partners, often from the Glomeromycota group, connect to lots of different green plants. Thismia has likely evolved to mimic the signals of a normal, beneficial plant partner.
So the fungus thinks it's feeding a regular plant.
It probably just registers it as a slight energy drain in a large, busy system. It's like a tiny, unnoticed leak in the pipes, not a major threat it needs to isolate. It's quite a sophisticated trick.
Wow. So it's like evolutionary camouflage, and this choice, ditching the sun, it must have really changed its appearance, right?
Oh, completely. No need for sunlight means no need for functional leaves. They're gone. No chlorophyll either.
Yeah.
So they end up looking pale, almost translucent, white, yellow, sometimes pinkish.
And that translucence, is that where the fairy lantern idea comes from? Like they glow?
That's the idea. On the dark forest floor, they can almost seem to light up, but honestly, they don't look much like flowers. They look more like weird little mushrooms poking out of the ground. You are what you eat, maybe.
Huh. Maybe so. A flowering plant that looks like a fungus because it eats fungus. Okay, so that explains how it survives down there, hidden away. But why are they so hard to find? Even for botanists who are looking.
Well, their whole lifestyle is about being hidden. You only see them above ground when they flower or fruit.
And that's not very often.
It could be just a few weeks a year, maybe even less frequent for some species. The rest of the time, they're totally buried under leaves or just beneath the soil surface. They don't need sun, so why bother sticking your head out right?
Makes sense. Keep a low profile.
Exactly. Deeply concealed, often in really dense shade.
And yet, people are still finding new ones.
They are, quite regularly. We're currently at about 80 to 90 known species, but new ones pop up almost every year because they're just so good at hiding.
And these aren't always in super remote, unexplored jungles, are they?
Not at all. Take Thismia cannaboluensis, found in 2018
Where?
on Mount Kinabalu in North Borneo. Now, this is one of the most famously biodiverse places on Earth. Botanists have been crawling all over that mountain for centuries.
Seriously? They missed it for that long?
Yep. A completely new species, hiding out in plain sight more or less, in an area that's been intensely studied. It just shows how incredibly secretive these plants can be.
And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we're missing plants, things that don't move, in well-studied places, what else are we missing? Especially things linked to these hidden fungal networks.
It suggests our understanding of biodiversity, particularly for these kinds of organisms, might be way underestimated.
Where are most of them found? Is there a hotspot?
Southeast Asia is definitely the main hub. Places like Borneo, the Malay Peninsula, Vietnam. But you also find them scattered across tropical Australia, South America, even in temperate areas like Japan and New Zealand.
That sounds like a huge range, globally speaking. But I heard individual species can be really restricted.
Ah, yes, that's the crucial part. They tend to be very picky about which specific fungus they parasitize.
So one Thismia species might only connect to one type of fungus.
Often, yes. And that means many species have incredibly limited distributions. You might find one particular Thismia only in a single valley, or on one side of a mountain, and nowhere else in the world.
Which makes them super vulnerable, I guess. If something happens to that one spot.
Extremely vulnerable.
Yeah.
Local changes, habitat destruction. It could wipe out an entire species instantly.
And they look so strange. The variety is just nuts. They don't look like flowers from Earth, almost.
They really are wonderfully weird. The source material mentioned a few great examples, like Thismia bolumensis looks like it's wearing a little hood.
Cute.
Then Thismia doma is covered in these sharp little spikes. Looks ready for a party.
And Thismia ornata.
That one honestly looks like a tiny, delicate glass ornament you'd put on a Christmas tree. Very intricate.
Oh.
And Thismia countenensis has this weird, upright crown thing going on. Each one is a unique piece of natural art.
Okay, so this pickiness, this hidden nature, it leads us to the really big mystery, doesn't it? The vanishing act. Usually when something's elusive, it runs away. Or flies away. Plants. Well, they stay put, so how does a plant go extinct and then just reappear?
This comedia seems to specialize in this. They keep earning this title of most likely to vanish. And we're not talking about just disappearing for a season.
Great, like the Japanese one, this kobensis.
Exactly. Found in 1992 then, nothing. Everyone assumed it was extinct, probably due to development, for over 30 years.
30 years?
Then boom, rediscovered in 2023, which was huge news, especially since it's the most northern species found in Asia.
Okay, 30 years is a long time, but that's nothing compared to Thismia clavigera.
Ah, yes. The century-long disappearance. That one was first found way back in 1865 in Malaysia. Had a different name then, Geometra clavigera.
And then?
Gone. Vanished. Presumed extinct for well over 100 years.
Over a century. Seriously.
Until 1979 when it was rediscovered. Imagine that. A whole century passes without a single confirmed sighting by any botanist.
That pattern. Finding it. Documenting it. Losing it. It perfectly sets up the biggest botanical puzzle of the 20th century. The ultimate ghost plant.
You mean the North American one?
The Thismia americana,
Oh.
the only one ever found on the continent.
And finding it caused an absolute sensation in the botanical world at the time. Nothing like it had ever been seen here.
And the location was just as strange, right? Southern Chicago.
Southern Chicago, yep. A botanist named Norma Pfeiffer spotted it back in 1912. Just this tiny, tiny white flower. Apparently, it only showed itself between early July and mid-September.
And she studied it.
Oh, yes, meticulously.
Yeah.
For 4 years, she documented this little oddity.
And then?
And then, in 1916, gone. Just vanished. Dropped off the map.
And it's never been seen since anywhere.
Never. Not a single confirmed specimen anywhere else in the world.
The thing that always got me about this story is the geography puzzle. For decades, its closest known relative was supposed to be the Thismia rodway.
Right, which lives in Australia and New Zealand.
That's, what, over 15,000 kilometers away? How does a tiny plant cross the Pacific Ocean? It made no sense.
Exactly. That massive distance was almost impossible to explain through normal plant migration. But remember, that Japanese species we mentioned, Thismia kobensis, the one rediscovered after 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, recent studies suggest that species might actually be Thismia americana's closest relative.
No way. Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And suddenly the picture changes completely.
Ah, okay. So instead of this impossible ocean jump, Maybe they both relate back to ancestors that crossed over from Asia to North America.
Precisely. Via the Beringia land bridge, potentially. Just like woolly mammoths and early humans, it makes geographic sense.
That connection must have reignited the search, right? And maybe lent more credibility to Pfeiffer's original find.
Definitely. It makes the original discovery seem much more plausible scientifically.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't explain why it disappeared from Chicago.
Right, the vanishing act itself. And there are basically two main theories still floating around for that.
Two big ones, yeah. And they're pretty different.
Okay, theory one.
The simplest explanation, maybe the most likely, is just extinction. The area where Pfeiffer found it, around Lake Calumet, was being heavily industrialized back then.
So, pollution, habitat destruction. The usual suspects.
Exactly. The environmental impact from all that industry just wiped it out. A casualty of progress, sadly.
Okay, that makes sense. Sad, but logical. But then there's theory number two.
Ah, the more controversial one. The idea that Thismia americana was never really there at all. That it was an elaborate hoax.
A hoax. But Pfeiffer was a respected scientist. Why would she fake it, and how?
That's the tricky part. If it was a hoax, where did the specimen come from? Someone would have had to secretly import plant material, maybe seeds or fungal spores, from Asia or Australasia.
And plant it there for her to discover.
Or maybe she was somehow involved, though there's zero proof of that. But the argument is, how could this unique plant appear in Chicago, related to things halfway around the world, and then vanish? It seemed too weird to be true for some people.
But wouldn't DNA testing solve this now, if they had the original specimens?
Well, they do have Pfeiffer specimens. But remember, this was the early 1900s. No DNA sequencing. Identification was all based on physical appearance, its morphology, and T. americana looked distinct enough to be called a new species.
So without DNA proof back then, and with that huge geographic gap to its supposed relatives, the hoax theory had room to grow.
Exactly. It remains this unproven but kind of nagging possibility. Could someone have pulled off such a complex deception? It seems unlikely, requiring accomplices and incredible luck, but the mystery persists.
But loads of people, citizen scientists, botanists, they still believe it's out there, right? Hiding.
Absolutely. There's this enduring hope that maybe Pfeiffer was right and this little mycoheterotroph is just doing what Thismia does best, hiding exceptionally well, waiting in some forgotten patch of prairie remnant near Chicago.
That tiny white flower, maybe waiting to pop up again and solve the mystery once and for all.
Wouldn't that be incredible? To finally prove the discovery was real and this unique American plant isn't actually extinct.
So wrapping this up, what should you take away from all this? We've seen Thismia is this amazing plant parasite, cheating the system, living hidden underground, no sun needed.
Masters of disappearance, biological oddities. They really challenge how we think about what it means to be a plant.
And maybe they make us question how much biodiversity we're simply overlooking because it doesn't fit our standard search image. Because it's hiding in ways we don't expect.
Exactly. Which leaves us with Thismia americana, this unique flower seen for only 4 years in one spot in suburban Chicago. Is it the greatest botanical mystery of the last century? Maybe. Was it real? Was it a hoax? Will it ever turn up again?
That, I suppose, is something for you to mull over.
Indeed. A little bit of botanical mystery to keep you thinking.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.